What's up, guys? We are the World Axe Throwing League here in Chicago. Today we're going to run through the rules and regulations of the WATL. The mission of the World Axe Throwing League is to promote competition through sportsmanship and fair play. Our leagues and events should be played in a sportsmanship-like manner. Although competition may become intense, we expect our participants to maintain sportsmanship up to and after the final throw. In any WATL tournament or event, our players must respect the game, play fairly, and follow all the rules and regulations. Participants should accept and respect the officials' rulings. They should demonstrate good sportsmanship before, during, and after games, win or lose. They should be responsible for the sportsmanship of their teammates and help maintaining a respectful environment. They should be courteous to opposing players, teams, and officials. All the players should respect the place and leave it better than they found it. They should refrain from the use of abusive language and profanity. Players should not engage in any behavior that would put other participants or officials at risk. Players shouldn't engage in any verbal, written, or physical threats. Players should not initiate fights with other participants. Players should check with their local facility before bringing alcohol, as some locations don't allow it. The World Axe Throwing League does not allow the use of illegal drugs at any facility. Wear a shirt, wear some pants, probably shoes, common sense stuff. Sports are filled with judgment calls, and as a result, disputes can sometimes happen. However, it's important that participants handle all disputes in a civilized manner. After a final decision has been made, players may not dispute a call. Any feedback or concerns should be brought up to a WATL official. All code of conduct violations during and after matches will result in disciplinary action. If disciplinary action is required, first the player will receive a verbal warning. If it continues to happen, their most recent match points will be brought down to 0 and it'll count as a loss. The final measure will result in the suspension of the player for the whole season. WATL does not enforce any age requirements or limits, but check with your local facility. Targets should be relatively new and of sound quality prior to league play. When targets deteriorate to a point where excessive movement occurs, causing or risking good throws to fall out, the board should be switched out to ensure fair play. A player may request to have boards changed during play, but the final decision comes down to the league referee. Targets must be sprayed with water prior to the start of league play. If boards are continually hard, league members may request to have more water sprayed on the boards. Players may have up to 5 practice throws prior to their first match. Players may also have 1 practice throw prior to any subsequent matches. The axe throwing referee will notify players when their match will commence. The league will allow practice throws before official league start time, subject to availability, fairness, and consent of the referee on premises. Each league night allows every participant 4 matches. Each match is played against different opponents, selected at random, and consists of the following: 10 throws per match. In each match, players will take 5 throws, then switch sides. This ensures fair play when there's varying density in wood. The winner of the match will be the person with the most points after 10 throws. In the event of a tie after 10 throws, there will be a sudden death. The players will throw again the 11th time, and the winner will be the person that scores the higher points during that throw. If both players tie again, they must continue with sudden death throws until there is a winner. Points are not counted or tallied during sudden death. The match points, wins, and losses will then be recorded and uploaded to the leaderboards. The 8th and final week of each season will be the playoffs and final match to determine the season champion. The black line awards points associated with the ring. 6 points for the bullseye, 4 points for the second ring, 3 points for the third ring, 2 points for the fourth ring, 1 point for the fifth ring, 10 points for the blue circle, aka the kill shot. The kill shot is only available on the 10th and final throw of the match. Otherwise, the blue circles are worth 1 point, the value of the ring they're in. During the final throw of the match, the coach will provide a countdown starting from 3, 2, 1 to indicate when the axes are to be thrown. On the final throw, axes must be thrown at the same time. If an axe hits the target before the second player's axe leaves their hands, the late thrower will be given 0 points. Touching the line. If the axe is in 2 rings simultaneously, then the player is awarded the points for the higher valued ring. As long as the axe is touching the higher value ring, the higher amount of points is awarded. Stick and stay policy. The axe must remain in the target for the throw to count. If the axe falls out before the axe is retrieved, then the throw will be counted as 0 points. On the rare occurrence that the axe sticks to the target with any part other than the blade, the throw still counts and points are awarded accordingly. WATL players are allowed to throw axes in one of 2 ways: 1 hand on the axe over the head, or 2 hands on the axe over the head. No other style of throws are permitted. Rotation. The axe must make approximately 1 rotation in order for it to count. Players will throw from the boxed area marked on the floor 12 to 15 feet away from the targets. Players must have their lead foot in the boxed area when throwing the axe. Their back foot may be behind and outside the boxed area. Players will not be penalized if their back foot is touching any lines in the box. A player's lead foot is allowed to touch the front line during the throw, but no part of their foot may cross the line. If any part of their foot is over the front line as the axe is thrown, their throw will be counted as 0 points. If any part of their foot is over the front line as the axe is released, the throw is valid and counted. Players are allowed to arrive up to 1 hour late after official league start time, if given prior notice. Players are allowed to leave up to 1 hour early prior to the end of the scheduled official league time. If a player arrives late after the 1 hour official start time or leaves earlier than the 1 hour league completion time, the player that was scheduled to go against them will be granted an automatic win, but will perform 10 throws and have their points recorded. The late player will automatically receive a loss and a 0 for all throws. Exceptions are allowed with consent of opposing players affected that day and approval from the referee. Players are allowed to miss up to 2 days of regulation play during the season and make up their matches in subsequent weeks. Players must make up any missed matches by week 7, otherwise a loss will be attributed to their absence with a score of 0. No missed matches and throws are to be performed during week 8. In order to miss a regulation league night, players are required to give a minimum 1 day notice to the referee of their absence. Players are required to arrive to the playoffs at the start of regulation play. If a player is not present when their match begins, a 10-minute grace period will be offered. If the player does not show up, they will forfeit their match and their opponent will be awarded the win. If the player arrives during their grace period but is late for their subsequent match, they'll be immediately disqualified. Each throwing area is designated as a throwing lane. Fences or walls surround this area to keep throwers and axes contained in a safe environment. Only the 2 participating throwers and the axe throwing coach are allowed inside the lane at one time. This includes ensuring the area behind the throwers are clear of any other person up to 6 feet. 10 feet minimum height within the throwing lane is required for safety reasons. The targets are built from 5 2x10 wooden boards that are 4 feet in length. The first layer would be arranged horizontally, then the outermost layer, on which the targets will be drawn, is arranged vertically. Cover wall in OSB or plywood. The targets should be made of 2 layers of SPF wood. The first layer of 2x10 wood drilled onto the SPF wooden wall are called backboards. The backboards are made of 6-foot-long 2x10 lumber drilled into the wall vertically and packed tightly together. These 5 vertical boards should be 2 feet off the ground. The second layer of wood will be your actual targets. These will be 3 2x10 boards in the center and 1 2x10 board on each side. The targets consist of 2 components, 1, the targets, and 2, the headers and footers. The end product is a backboard that is 4 foot by 6 foot and another layer of SPF fully covers the back. The WATL offers official target protractors to create consistent and accurate targets. The smallest hole on the protractor allows for a screw to be drilled into the center of the board. Each subsequent hole allows for a 20mm marker to be used to draw the remaining circles. The bullseye is to be colored in red. All targets must be level. The center of the bullseye must be 24 inches from the bottom of the board. The kill shot, 2 blue circles, are 3 inches in diameter and positioned inside the 1-point ring. The kill shot is to be positioned approximately 45 degrees on the right-hand side and 135 degrees on the left-hand side from the bullseye. All WATL certified axes must conform to the following standards. The axe head can weigh up to 2 pounds maximum. The maximum blade length should be no longer than 4.75 inches. The handle may be made of wood, steel, or plastic and must be at least 12 inches long. The length includes the top head of the axe where the wood is inserted to the bottom of the shaft. Coaches must always be present while members are throwing during league play. A 6-foot radius should be maintained around every participant holding an axe. However, the coach may approach the participants and enter this 6-foot radius to provide instruction. An axe should never be thrown until a coach has provided a demo and instruction for which the participant has been present. Axes are to be retrieved only when both axes have hit the target or the floor. Axes shall never be thrown when a participant is picking up an axe from the target area. This will result in an immediate disqualification counted as a loss for that match. Each and every axe must be inspected prior to each league night to ensure the axe is up to standard. Broken axes may not be used. Coaches ensure the blades of the axes are sharp enough to hit and stick to the target, but are not razor sharp to the touch. Participants are instructed to grip the axe only by the handle. The entire season lasts 8 weeks, including the playoffs. There are 7 weeks where players can work on their season total, allowing for 280 throws that officially contribute to each player's season standings. The top 16 players with the most points will make it to the final week of playoffs where a champion is crowned. In the event of a tie at the end of the season, the amount of match wins will determine the standings for playoffs. If your league has less than 16 players, then it will be the top scoring 75% of players that will compete in the playoffs. Initial tournament matchups will be determined as follows. The player with the highest score will throw against the player with the lowest score. The second highest score from the regular season is matched against the second lowest score of qualifying players, and so on, so that the 2 players with the median scores are matched up. The tournament follows a single elimination structure for each round except the final round. The winner of each match, consisting of 10 throws, except in the case of tiebreakers, advances to the next round. The final round between the 2 potential league champions will be at most 50 throws. Each player will throw 5 times on their respective target before switching to the other target. The winner will be the person who wins 3 out of 5 matches. The Axe Throwing World Championships are held annually. Check out our social media and worldaxethrowingleague.com for details and updates.
Hey guys, thanks for hanging out with me today, learning about the World Axe Throwing League. Happy axing.